Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. And I'm here again with Kevin, who
Hello.
is going to ask some questions that you guys have submitted through the form that you will find on the website.
What's that website URL?
ErinPavlina.com.
Okay,
Check
very
it
good. All right, our first question is from Jenny, who wants to know if you've ever solved any murders using your abilities.
It's a good question. Yes, I have. So here's how this has sort of come about, because it's been in different ways. Sometimes a person or a family will contact me and they will ask me who killed my loved one. Sometimes the guides will give me an answer. Sometimes it's very clear. Sometimes they do not give me an answer and I am at the mercy of what they will or will not share. I've had situations where a deceased person has come to me and told me flat out who killed them, and I'm able to pass that information along. I have done a little bit of work for the police department, but the police department does not acknowledge working with psychics, so and they don't want you to discuss it too much. So I certainly cannot discuss specific cases, but I have been involved in assisting the police with a missing person and or deceased person. Where is the body? Additionally, there was a situation where a family asked me about a loved one who was a member of a government organization, and he died during his time there. And the family received information that was not the same information they received from the government agency. And when they went back to the agency to ask more questions using the information I gave them, we all got in trouble. And there was a communication from the government agency saying, stop, do not pursue this matter any further or things will be very bad for you, which is why I'm being a little vague about what happened, because I don't want to go to jail.
If I could share a quick story, I was involved with a guy who was getting messages about deceased people who didn't like that their loved ones didn't know how they had died, and this was involving a plane crash near Las Vegas here, and so he investigated the matter, and at a certain point, it was also government related, but at a certain point the whatever the statute of limitations is and the Freedom of Information Act, he was able to find this information, relay it to the children, and it was a wonderful experience for all of them.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's obviously very gratifying to help a family get closure and give them enough validation that they can check the information themselves.
So we know you're not going to name any names. Have there been any famous cases where a celebrity or a well-known person let you know how they were killed?
Yes.
And why do you think that would be? Why do you think a celebrity or somebody like that you would get that info?
So I want to be clear that I don't feel like I'm chosen and that they're coming to me, oh my gosh, I've got to get to Erin Pavlina and tell her this. It's that I'm somewhat accessible and they're broadcasting. So they're broadcasting to any psychic or medium who can hear them, and I just happen to be that person that day. So I have received information from deceased people about how they died and what happened to them when they died and perhaps who was involved in their death. But it's not because I feel like they came to me directly. I feel like I just heard them talking.
Interesting question.
Yeah.
All right. Our next question is from Suhanthai, and he would like to know what the difference is between a prayer and a meditation.
They can definitely be related, but if I had to say, I would say that a prayer is when you are communing with what you feel is your deity or the divine, and you are asking for something. You are asking for help, asking for forgiveness, asking for luck, asking to have a certain outcome happen. And I would say with meditation, you are receiving. So with prayer, you are asking, and for me at least, meditation, you're receiving guidance and wisdom that they want to give you on the other side, from the other side. Not so much saying, hey guides, I'd really like to win the lottery, set me up with a ticket, get me the right numbers. So for me, meditation is receiving guidance they want you to have, and prayer is asking for what you want to receive.
In the example you used there about a prayer potentially being something, or an example being asking for forgiveness, can you see a scenario in which a person's deity would not give them forgiveness?
I would actually say that a deity is not going to forgive or not forgive you. It's going to be you. Mm-hmm. You have to decide if you forgive yourself for your own perceived transgression, what you see as a horrible act that you feel needs forgiveness. It may not be a horrible act.
They may not have been judging the whole time.
Yeah, I actually had a client once who was very, very convinced he was going to go to hell, which does not exist, because he took the Lord's name in vain. That was it. He was done. He was deeply scared about that, and he wanted to know how he was going to find forgiveness for that. And you don't need forgiveness for that. If you don't want to do something, if you do something that you feel feels bad to you, just don't do it. Forgiveness is what you give yourself. You don't have to get it from something or someone else.
I've got a feeling that people like Jesus have a great sense of humor, and they don't mind any goofy jokes we make. Do you have any feeling on that topic?
Yes, I have never met an entity on the other side who didn't find our quirky humor endearing. So definitely don't worry about offending or making angry some being on the other side. They understand how hard it is to be human and that we do things all the time.
Okay, very good. Our next one is from Tim, who has a question about reincarnation. So, when it comes to reincarnation, do you think we prefer to come back and live a similar life to ones we've lived in the past? Or do you think people choose to have all new experiences and varying lifestyles?
It's both. People will come back and want to live a similar life, and people will also choose very different lives. In fact, I was doing a past life reading for a client, and in the reading, he was a carpenter in Russia hundreds of years ago. And he said, I don't understand. I'm a carpenter in India today. Why would I have ever gone to Russia? And I kind of told him, I said, yeah, well, you're going everywhere. You're everywhere on this planet. So you're not limited by a location or a race or anything like that. So he was kind of surprised. But he was living a very similar life to the one he had lived before. And I think the reason is because in that previous life in Russia, he was murdered. He was murdered by he was an apprentice, and he was murdered by his master. And I think he felt like he had unfinished business, which is a reason you might come back to relive a certain lifestyle. In other cases, I've told people about lives they had, and I'm like, well, I'm not like that now. Well, why would you be? It was a completely different life, different experience. Just like some actors play villains in their roles, and sometimes they play the hero. You want the variety. You want to try everything. So it will be entirely up to you what kind of life you decide to live next.
I got a past life reading with you once when you first started that product, and it was real similar to my life now in that I like to leave the city and go to the mountains and explore the plants and the animals, and it was a very different time frame in this country, but the hearing that was very satisfying and heartwarming, and it felt really good.
Yeah, and then in another life you might have been somebody completely different. We'll have to check.
Yeah. All right, our last question today is from Stelina, who asks, what will it feel like when you know you're on the right path?
So I don't like the word right or wrong, but I know what you're referring to. When you are on a path that is good for you, that feels that you would identify as the right path, it's going to feel very easy. It's going to feel like you can easily grasp it. I think I used an analogy once in a blog article where, like, let's say you're walking through a parking lot and you see a $20 bill on the ground. Do you call a friend, hey, I found this 20, what do you think? Should I pick it up? Do you journal about it? Do you meditate about it? Do you read up on picking up $20 bills and whether that's good or bad for politics, the economy, or yourself? Or do you just reach down and pick it up because you want it? So when you're living your life on path, according to your life intention, it's going to be like picking up 20s in that parking lot. It's just laid out in front of you. It's going to be easy. It's going to be obvious. It's going to feel good. You're going to want it. And it's not going to be a big struggle to obtain.
All right, well, that's all we have for today. Here's to everybody finding plentiful 20s on the ground, all right?
Yes. Thank you, Kevin, for asking the questions and being here, and thank you all for tuning in. And please check out the website for more articles and information, or to book a reading if you decide to.